Hi guys, welcome back to Our Wyoming Life. It's a little late, the stars are out, it's a beautiful night. And we are gonna get started today here in the shop. Now I'm dressed a little bit differently because I actually just came from a hockey game. But what we're gonna do is get started tonight because today we are talking about the Bluetti once again. My plan is to take you guys through part of my day tomorrow, so we'll be back to check on things. But what I wanted to get started here tonight is the fact that we have a lot of freezers on the ranch. This is actually one of our biggest freezers, one of our newest freezers. It's about a 41 square foot freezer, cube foot, not square foot, 41 cubed feet. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, this freezer will hold about 2.5 beef. The general rule is you need about 16 cubic feet for one beef. This one holds about 2.5, which means that there's about $7,500 worth of meat in this freezer alone. In here, we've got a bunch of ham, we've got pork chops, more pork chops, sausage, all kinds of different stuff in here, some ham. It's a little empty, it's not full all the way to the top, but that actually helps us out with our test for today because we're going to be taking a look at the Bluetti. Now once again, I'll kind of walk you guys through how this thing works. This is actually the battery pack down here on the bottom. This is a 3072 watt hour battery right here, and then on the top is the inverter. This is where all of our plugs in are and everything else. So right now I've got it charged up to 100%. And one of the things that I got a lot of questions about in the last video that we did with the Bluetti, because this thing is basically a power source for the ranch. A lot of times we can use it if the power goes out or anything like that. And today we're actually going to be using it as a UPS. That's an uninterruptible power supply. So I'm going to show you how I set it up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a power outage for 24 hours. And we're going to see how this thing holds up to keeping this thing cold. Setup is really simple. You have one cord that goes from your battery up to your inverter. It all locks in. We also have a power cord here as well. Now all we have to do is unplug our freezer from the cord in the wall and plug in the Bluetti into the wall. Then we're actually going to take the cord from the freezer and we're just going to plug it into the front of the Bluetti. We can pretty much pick any one of these plugs. So now we plug this back in, and now our freezer is running through the Bluetti. Now you notice there it's at -2 degrees. So that's really good indication so we can tell where we're at, and it's plugged in through the Bluetti. Now the Bluetti is now taking power from the grid and then feeding that power into the freezer. Now let's say, for example, for some reason we lose power for 24 hours. That was just me turning off the light. But to simulate losing power, I'm actually just going to unplug the Bluetti from the wall. So here's the thing. So this thing, as long as it's plugged in, it's always feeding power through this system. An uninterruptible power supply means that when the power goes out, it automatically switches over to the Bluetti. So power goes out, just like that, Bluetti beeps. So that beeping noise tells me that now the Bluetti is supplying power to the freezer. Now there was absolutely no hiccup in there. The freezer didn't even turn off. The Bluetti took care of everything. As soon as the power went off, it switched over power and kept supplying power to the freezer. So the freezer is still running, although it is only plugged in to the Bluetti. We're gonna let this run for 24 hours. And what I wanna know is, will that single battery run this freezer for 24 hours? And I kind of want to figure out kind of a baseline here, because if we need to get more batteries to be able to run more freezers, how many batteries will it really take to keep all of our beef cold here in the shop? We have this freezer, which is 41 square feet, cubed feet. Man, I keep on messing that up. And over here on the other side of the shop, we have another 82 cubed feet. So all together, just here in the shop, if we lost power, we could lose a lot of meat, and it could happen really fast. These freezers do hold their temperature somewhat for a while, but we want to be able to control that problem that can happen, and that is where things start to thaw, things start to get warm, whatever it might be. We don't want that to happen. So the Bluetti is here to save the day. At 8:30 tomorrow night, after we get done with a full day of work, we're going to come back and check this thing out, see where it sets. I'm going to show you some more features of it as we go through today's video. But for now, this thing just has to sit overnight, and I'll see you in the morning. Alrighty guys, we are back out here. It's been about 12 hours, just a touch over 12 hours since we were out here last night trying to get this stuff all set up and seeing how the Bluetti works. Now, we're gonna take a look really quick, see where our percentage is at, and then I've gotta go do chores, and then we'll tackle a couple projects for today. First things first, let's check the freezer and see where it's at. It is still at -2 degrees. It has been running completely off the Bluetti, which is now down to 72% after 12 hours. So things are going smoothly. Everything's still frozen inside the freezer, and we'll come back in a little while. We'll check on this. Also, I have the ability to check on it with the app so that we can see exactly what's going on no matter where we're at. And that's super handy because here on the ranch, we're constantly on the move. Like I said, I've got some chores to take care of this morning. I got to feed the steers over in the feedlot. I got to feed some cows and some other things. I'm going to knock those out really quick, and then we'll get to taking a look at some water here on the ranch and an idea I have to help out the pigs. Also, I have a very cool surprise for you right back here in the shop, and something that happened yesterday, and a new animal on the ranch that I want to introduce you to. Well, that was fun, and now that the cows are all fed, the sun is starting to pop out, and we can take a look at the next part of today's video, and that's where we're going to stick with this frozen theme, just like the freezer that the Bluetti is running across the road. And we're going to take a look at some water solutions that we use here on the ranch. Now, my hope is that this is going to be able to help other ranchers, farmers, homesteaders, whatever it might be, that if you guys utilize water on your ranch, which if you have animals, you have to, and how to keep your water from freezing, but not just the water in the tank, but the way that you get it to the tank. Now, I've talked about it in the past, but one of the ways when I have to go fill up tanks, especially in the winter, I actually carry around this bucket with me, and this bucket has a hose in it. This thing sits inside during the day or during the night and stays thawed out, and I can use this hose to fill up water tanks, but it's not always the most ideal solutions. So One thing that Gilbert came up with, my father-in-law, years and years ago, and when we came to the ranch, I found a lot of these, and I thought they were a great solution. This is actually just a piece of PVC that's rigged up to the hydrant, so you can actually shuttle water to wherever you need it to go. So all you have to do is just set this over the hydrant and the output. You turn on your hydrant, and water flows directly on the other side of this fence into our stock tank and fills it up. It works out really good, a great way to move water, and you don't have to worry about it freezing because it's actually going to drain out as when you turn it off. It's just going to drain back out. There's no water left in the system. Something that I came up with a few years ago was actually we had an issue with frozen hydrants as well, and what I did was actually put a garbage can around the hydrant, filled it full of net wrap or straw or whatever you want to use for insulation, and this keeps any of your hydrants from freezing as well. It works out really good, and we're going to build on that idea today as we head over to the pig pen and take a look at their water. But first, we're going to stop by the shop, and I'm going to introduce you to a brand new addition to the ranch. So if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you might have already seen this, but we had a brand new baby goat that was born yesterday, kind of surprised us, and I managed to bring her over here to the shop. Actually, I think it's a him, but I only got a quick look yesterday, so we're gonna come over here today, see what's going on with mom and baby, and introduce you to our newest baby goat. So that's mom, Cruella, and little baby goat does not have a name yet. We're gonna snatch her up, or him up, I think it's a him. We're gonna snatch him up and get you a good look. Come here, kiddo. I know I'm interrupting lunch or breakfast or whatever this is. Come here. Oh, yeah. So it does appear to be a little boy. He's very cute. He does not have a name yet. He has a couple white markings, a little white dot on his forehead there, and a big white spot here on the side. Otherwise, he's totally black. Cute little thing. It blends right in with my jacket, so you can barely even see him. We're gonna set him down here on the concrete. I'd like to see what he does. Hello. There's your mom. Okay, you want to go back in? Come here, kiddo. Oh, ran away from me. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I'll give you back to your mom. Get your mom a little bit more food, huh? Oh, right back to food we go. That's one cute little baby, and of course a welcome addition to the ranch. When we get a name for him, we'll let you guys know. Feel free to throw any suggestions. While we're in here, we're going to take another quick look at the Bluetti, which is still running our freezer. Temperature's still at -2 degrees, and now we're down to 62% on the Bluetti. So, next stop for us today is over at the pig pen. I'm going to show you how I'm going to utilize that idea of Gilbert's with using the PVC pipe to direct water to make life a little bit easier over there. And here we are over at the pig pen, where their water in this new pig pen has actually become kind of a pain in the butt over this winter, and what I'm trying to do here is actually just nip this in the bud while I can. Weather's halfway decent. I can actually get out here. There's no snow falling on me or anything like that. And what we're going to be doing is, instead of coming in here every day with a hose and hooking it up to this hydrant, running this hose back here to their stock tank where they can pull it out and bite holes in it and do everything else that they want to do, we're going to put in a new water system that's actually just going to take water directly from this hydrant to their tank and we don't have to mess with it. It'll drain out just like those little ones that Gilbert built many years ago. I have a dream in my head of being able to do this type of thing for the entire barn so that we can run pipes through the barn, gravity flow, be able to fill up every water that we need to by putting in some valves and stuff. That's probably coming up. But what I did find was actually this piece of PVC. This is schedule, what is this? I don't even know. This is like schedule 40 or something. Yeah, schedule 40 pipe, which is a little weird. The size on it is, I don't know. It's a weird off size. This is really old PVC. I don't know why Gilbert had it around, but I found it up in a barn somewhere and I thought, well, this will work pretty good for this project. So if you have a spot where you're trying to get water to, you're constantly fighting with hoses and stuff like that, why not put in one of these gravity systems? It'll make life a lot easier for you, and they're super simple to do. Let me show you. So really all you need is a wall or a post or something to be able to attach that pipe to. So I'm gonna go grab that pipe and we're gonna lay it up here and see how well it fits. Now I don't have a ton of room in here, so it's kind of hard to film, but what we need to do is get water from that hydrant down to this tank. You can see our pipe there. I think we've got plenty of pipe to get it done. It's just a matter of how we're going to get it set in here to make it work. I obviously don't want to block the way that pigs move through here, so we have to keep it up high enough, which I don't think is going to be a problem. If I had an elbow or a 90-degree elbow for this pipe, I would probably place it in and make life a little bit easier. But for us right now, for what I've got on hand, and I don't want to run to town and get more parts, we're going to make this work. And it may even end up simpler than what I thought. So down here we've got the Beckart woven wire fence. And what I may be able to do is actually feed, I'm gonna fall over. What I may be able to do is actually feed this pipe through the fence and get it to go where we need to. This pipe is pretty flexible, which is nice. Hey, get your mouth off of my pipe. Hey, get your mouth off my pipe. Okay, so that would aim it pretty close to where we need it to be. On the other end, however, we have to get this pipe up kind of out of the way. But like I said, it's really flexible. So what I can do is actually attach it to the wall. I might not even have to cut the darn thing. We can attach it to the wall so that we can utilize gravity to feed water all the way down. So I have not tested any of this, and hopefully it all works the way I'm thinking it will. But there's only one way to really tell, and that's to hook it up and see how well it works. To help us hang this, we're going to use our old friend plumber strap, which you guys have sent me plenty of, so I might as well utilize it. Works out great for this kind of stuff. And some screws to hold the whole darn thing together. Again, this is not super complicated. Doesn't really have to be. Just has to work. Pig, quit moving my pipe. Nice thing about plumber strap is you can put it up loosely so that you can kind of work back and forth, get things set where you need them. Is so flexible. I want to make sure I don't have any low spots where water can build up and freeze. I just want it to drain out every time I turn off the water. But I think this is going to work. If the pigs don't eat it, that is. Okay, that is not your breakfast. We're gonna pull this back just a little bit. And then the way that this is gonna work, so obviously we've got the beginning of our pipe way up here, we've got our hydrant down here, we're gonna need some sort of hose to go from here to here, but the nice thing is it doesn't have to be that long, and we can leave it hooked up because we'll just let it hang, it'll drain out as well. One of the problems we have is if you leave a hose hooked up to these, we'll actually end up with water left in the head, and then that head freezes, and then you're out of luck. You got to come out with a heater and heat everything up and try to get everything to open up again. So this way, I think that the way I'm going to do it here will make a lot of sense to you. I've got an old hose here that actually busted a long time ago. We lost an end on it, but what I can do now is get it on here. And this will be the flexible portion of our hose that's going to go up to there. And because I don't need that long of a hose, all I have to do is just wrap this around and shove it in there, and now it's going to feed the entire line, hopefully. We're going to turn it on here. Let's see what happens. Water's flowing, coming down the pipe and filling up the pig pen, or the pig water, which this is a little bit different for a pig water. We actually have nipples on the side of this galvanized tank, so it does have to stay about half full for the pigs to get water. So right now it obviously is less than half full. You can see the nipples over on this side are not underwater, and that means that they can't get water from that side. But I think this will work just fine. Pigs like to mess with it a little bit, but they can't really push it around too much. You can see that I'm trying to wiggle it here. I can't actually get it so it will spray outside of the tank. So I think that's pretty successful. I'm going to put in a couple more screws into this plumber strap to hold it a little bit tighter so they can't move it back and forth. Yeah, now you can't move it at all. We'll do the same thing up here just in case one of them decides to get squirrely. Yeah, I can't budge that. So there we go, a quick and easy fix to be able to fill up the pig's water. Super simple. And then when we're done filling this up, all we have to do is just pull that hose out of the end. Hey, they're a little thirsty. They were waiting for me to get over here and get this done. So I think what I will do eventually, I will actually come over here and I'll just pull this pipe back and then just put a 90 that comes down this way. That way I don't have this piece sticking out across the alley. But the gate that they come out of is actually up here, so I'm not too worried about it. It's out of the way and they should be totally fine. So that's a really super simple ranch hack, along with the garbage can over the hydrant. If you have problems with hydrants freezing, it's a great way to keep them from freezing. This seems to work pretty well for getting water around. So if you have any water you need to get somewhere, you don't want to mess around with hoses anymore, spend a little bit of money or go to an auction or something and buy some extra PVC, and you can pretty much get water wherever you need to and not have to worry about it freezing, especially in these colder climates. Speaking of freezing, I am going to take a little bit of a break. It is Sunday after all, and I will be back about 8:30 tonight. We're going to go back over, we're going to take a look at the Bluetti and see how it's doing, what percentages it fell down to, and how many batteries we're going to need to keep all of our freezers frozen for 24 hours. It's coming up. Alrighty guys, it is just past 8:30. It is time for us to take a look at the Bluetti and see what's going on with it. And so earlier in the video, I think I kind of misspoke. You can hear the goat back there and her baby. So this is a 41 cubic foot freezer. The other freezers equal 41 cubic feet, so we have a total of 82 cubic feet here in the shop. And what my big question is, if we set up the Bluetti as a uninterruptible power supply, how will that work? Will it be able to run all the freezers for 24 hours? We're gonna find out here in just minutes, or seconds, depending on how fast I get this done. So I do have the app on my phone. The app is available for Android and Google devices, and it links directly up to your Bluetti as long as it has internet access. You can also add more batteries, more 3,000 watt batteries, to get yourself up to whatever you need it to be. So we are going to double check things here really quick. We are going to check the freezer. The freezer is still at -2 degrees, which is super awesome. So we haven't lost any of the, I was going to say we haven't lost any of the heat, but we haven't lost any of the cold in the freezer. But the big question is, where is the Bluetti at as far as power consumption? So I'm going to just hit the screen here. As soon as I tap it, it'll come to life. And it shows 45% left. It has been running for 24 hours. So we know now that we're just below 50%, and that means that we would need 2 batteries to run everything in here. So I guess that I'm gonna put that on my Christmas list, another battery for the Bluetti. And I gotta tell you, you know, I'm done with dragging these big giant generators around. This thing is pretty much all I need. I can throw it in the back of the Gator, I can take it wherever I need to take it, and it's able to supply power that I need. And that's what I love about the Bluetti. Goaties, you guys ready for another good night? Look at that baby, still eating. That's all that little guy does. Eat, eat, eat. Guys, thank you for coming along with me today. I do appreciate it. Hopefully, our water solutions give somebody an idea of how to run water within their own barns or their own corrals or their own sheds or whatever it may be. And like I said, whether you're a farmer, a rancher, a homesteader, whatever you may be, these are ideas that you can use, and I'm very, very happy to be able to share them with you. Thank you to Mr. Bluetti for giving us a new power solution for the ranch, and hopefully the last one we'll ever need. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time on Our Wyoming Life.